In this lesson, I will demonstrate how to build composite images using non-destructive editing techniques in Adobe Photoshop. This example builds on several basic image editing workflows that you can use together or individually in your Photoshop projects. The first step in any media project is file management. In most cases, you will be editing your own files, but for this tutorial, you can use my sample project files. Download the project files and place them conveniently on your computer or an external drive so you don't have to move or rename them later. Now, launch Adobe Photoshop. From the Start screen, click Open and navigate to the location of the project files, and then select the file named middleground.jpg. Double-click on the layer named Background in the Adobe Photoshop Layers panel and rename it to Middleground. Select File, Save As to save your new Adobe Photoshop project file. Change the file format to Photoshop. Give your project file a descriptive name and then save it. To minimize the risk of losing work in the event of a computer or application crash, saving changes to your project document after each step in the workflow is a good practice. Press Command-S on a Mac or Control-S on a PC to save your file. The first thing I like to do is straighten and crop the image. Click the Crop tool in the Adobe Photoshop toolbar and then choose the Straighten tool. Find a line in the image that you know should be straight and then draw along it. Click the Commit Current Crop Operation button in the Adobe Photoshop Options bar to apply the straightening. Now, click Crop tool in the Adobe Photoshop toolbar again. Hold down the Shift key to preserve the image's aspect ratio and drag using the handles on either side of the image to crop it to your liking. Click the Commit Current Crop Operation button to finalize your crop. The photo we are working on is underexposed, so next we will adjust the exposure using an adjustment layer. Click the Create New Fill or Adjustment Layer button in the Adobe Photoshop Layers panel and select Exposure from the pop-up menu. Adjust the exposure by moving the exposure slider to the right. Control-click on a Mac or right-click on a PC on the new Exposure Adjustment layer and select Create Clipping Mask from the pop-up menu to tie it to the source layer below. This prevents the adjustment layer from affecting other layers below the one that it is tied to. The last modification we'll make in the middle ground is to clean up any unwanted details. For this, we will use the Spot Healing Brush tool. Click on the layer named Middle Ground in the Adobe Photoshop Layers panel to activate it. Click the Spot Healing Brush tool in the Adobe Photoshop toolbar to activate the tool. Identify any unwanted elements in the image and paint over them with the brush. The middle ground we are working on has a white nondescript sky. To fix that, we will replace it with a new sky to serve as the background in our project. First, we must prepare the image using a layer mask to hide the original sky. Click on the middle ground layer to make it active. Hold the Selection tool button in the Adobe Photoshop Tools menu and select the Magic Wand tool. With the Magic Wand tool active, click and drag across a portion of the sky. Because the color of the sky is uniform, Adobe Photoshop recognizes its shape and selects it for you. click the Add a Layer Mask button in the Adobe Photoshop Layers panel to add the layer mask. Press Command-I on a Mac or Control-I on a PC to invert the layer mask so that the sky is masked rather than the main scene. The project is now ready to receive the new background. Click the Create a New Layer button in the Adobe Photoshop Layers panel. Drag the new layer named Layer 1 to the bottom of the layer stack. Click on Layer 1 to ensure that it is activated. Then select File and Place Embedded. Navigate to the project files and select the file named background.jpg. Click the Move tool in the Adobe Photoshop Tools menu, and with the sky layer selected, click on the top portion of the image and drag the sky up or down until it looks good. The next step is to add a foreground to the project. We will add the foreground with a layer mask in one step using the Adobe Photoshop Object Selection tool. Click the Create a New Layer button in Adobe Photoshop Layers panel and ensure it is placed at the top of the layer stack. Click on Layer 1 to ensure it is activated, then select File and Place Embedded. Navigate to the project files and select the file named Foreground.jpg. Click and hold the Selection Tool button in the Adobe Photoshop Tools menu and choose the Object Selection tool. With the Object Selection tool active, click on the person to make your selection. Adobe Photoshop uses Advanced Visual AI to detect and select the person for you automatically. Click on Add Layer Mask in the Adobe Photoshop Layers panel to create a mask. Click the Move tool in the Adobe Photoshop's Tools menu. Hold down the Shift key to preserve the aspect ratio and drag inward from the top right corner of the image to scale it down. Click on the person and drag it to the left until you are satisfied with the positioning. Adding text to an image in Adobe Photoshop is quick and easy. We'll be using the type tools and the layer styles for this task. Hold the Text tool button in the Adobe Photoshop Tools menu and select Horizontal Type tool. Place the cursor on the image and type the text you want. This operation creates a new text layer automatically. If the text layer does not end up on top of the layer stack, simply click on it and drag it to the top. With the Text tool active, highlight the text you just typed and use the Adobe Photoshop Options menu to customize it to your needs. To improve the contrast and make the text more legible against the background, select the text layer and click the Add a Layer Style button in the Adobe Photoshop Layers panel. Choose Stroke and set the size to 15 pixel and the color to black. With the text layer selected, click the Move tool in the Photoshop Tools menu and reposition your text as desired. The Adobe Photoshop source file that you've been working with is not suitable for sharing, so you need to export it to a format that can be readily shared. The first thing you should do is share your project with Creative Cloud so you can access it across all your devices. Once the document is available in Creative Cloud, you can also invite collaborators to work on it. To share the project to Creative Cloud, simply click the blue Share button. Next, we'll export a copy of the image suitable for sharing via web or email. Choose File, Export, and Export As. Set the file format to JPEG and width to a custom value, for example 1024. Note that height will be chosen automatically to preserve the correct aspect ratio. Click Export to save a new copy of your image. Repeat this process to create copies in as many different sizes as you need. Be sure to save the Adobe Photoshop project file before you close the application, so you can come back and work on it later. Good luck on your creative journey with Adobe Photoshop.